We suck again!
What is good, Raider Nation? It's your boy Raider Alex back with another live stream. For anybody that's here in the chat already, salute to you guys and just let me know how it's looking like, how it's sounding like. Make sure the audio is all good to go. But elephant in the room, man, the Raiders absolutely did the most Raider thing that they could do. Only the Raiders could go out there week 2, backs against the wall. Everybody thinking you're going to lose against the Baltimore Ravens, including myself, man. I did not think we are going to win that one. I thought Baltimore, top to bottom, had a better roster on the road. I thought we were going to lose that one, but the Raiders showed me a lot in that game. They got the upset victory. Gardner Minshew caught some magic, some Minshew mania in the second half, and we got the upset victory. But the Raiders here in week 3 going against what, basically everybody in NFL media considered the worst team in football, and the Carolina Panthers. We lose to the Panthers 36-22. And to be fair, that final score is doing us some justice because, let's be honest, we got our ass handed to us. I think at one point we were down like 36-7. I mean, it was it was a bad game for the Raiders, and like I said, that final score was not indicated of what the game was actually like. I mean, the Panthers kicked our ass on offense and on defense, so that was a rough one. But leave it to the Raiders to go against a backup quarterback and make him look like one of the best quarterbacks in the league, and that's exactly what happened today. So we got 14 people in the chat, though. Let's salute to Robert Pena. Hey, thank you for pulling up, man. We got Andrew Castro saying that was a tough one. Max need to be pulled earlier. Yeah, I definitely hear you on that. I mean, Max Crosby came into this game with some type of ankle injury, and he did not look like himself at all. I definitely respect Max Crosby. He literally plays like all snaps for the Raiders. He's the heart and soul of this defense and of this team in general, but he definitely didn't look like himself. But at the same time, I mean, I don't necessarily blame him for being out there because we are kind of thin at the edge rusher position, especially with that news of Malcolm Koonce being out for the season. And let's be honest, besides Max Crosby on the edge, nobody else has really been doing a good job getting to the quarterback consistently. Right now, the defensive end room is, you got a couple guys in Charles Snowden. You got Tyree Wilson. You got Janarius Robinson. All these guys are inexperienced, and they haven't done a good job, trying to fulfill that void that we had with Malcolm Koonce. But, yeah, definitely Max Crosby did not look like himself. The defensive line, we didn't get any pressure on Andy Dalton out there. He was just picking apart this defense left and right. So that was a tough game to watch. Got Dominic 5 in the building. What's up, man? Thank you for pulling up. Robert Payne says play calling was terrible, just terrible in the words of Charles Barkley. Yeah, man. Play calling was very vanilla. Luke Getsy definitely has some question marks when it comes to his game, his offensive game plan in general. So that was not a good sighting at all. We got Bill Baldwin in the building. He says Getsy was a huge mistake. Play calling was hot garbage. Yeah, I definitely was not a fan of Luke Getsy, the hiring. I guess one, and the biggest thing that I did not like about us hiring Luke Getsy is it was super obvious that he was not our first choice. It was kind of like nobody else wanted him in the National Football League. Our first choice was Cliff Kingsbury, which is somebody I was super ecstatic about. If we could have hired him as the offensive coordinator, we weren't able to. He backed out the last minute. So the Raiders were kind of left scrambling. They had to go with Luke Getsy, and it's not looking so good right now. I mean, just the play calling, it's very basic. I mean, he's not really opening anything up. We can't run the ball at all, which is a huge problem for this football team. The way I look at this football team right now is this is a football team that does have a lot of talent. You got guys like Devontae, you got Max Crosby, you got Christian Wilkins. You got a lot of talent on this roster, but right now, fundamentally, we're not a sound football team. We can't run the ball. We can't stop the run. So, from a trenches standpoint, in the interior of the trenches on offense and on defense, we're weak in that standpoint. And from a just an overall management aspect of the team, how this team is being coached on offense and on defense, and just in general, we're not a sound football team in that aspect. So definitely not looking good for us. Afakasi Raider in the building. A salute to you, man. Thank you for following up. This is on our ownership. Davis doesn't care about anything other than getting your money. Yeah, I mean, I definitely understand that take. Mark Davis. The thing is with Mark Davis, he's done a good job. Relocating this team in terms of a financial aspect. But right now the results are not there, and that has to be weighed out. It, I understand this is a business, the NFL. You need to be profitable as an organization, but the results got to come with that. And it's not cheap to go to games to Allegiant Stadium. So that's a big reason why we don't have a good home field advantage right now is because we're not winning football games, and you know you see what happened today. So definitely, definitely not good move. Max was hurt. Others needed to step up, and they did. Yeah, and that's the biggest issue right now with the defensive line is we are super reliant on Max Crosby to really create any type of havoc on opposing quarterbacks. And you saw today when he wasn't there, when he wasn't, able to, you know, get consistent pressure, get sacks on the quarterback, we weren't able to do anything. We weren't able to get any type of pressure on Andy Dalton. And unfortunately for us, that's going to be something that we're going to have to deal with here soon. Malcolm Koonce is out for the season. I think Malcolm Koonce really, if you look at it last season, he was one of the things that just kind of, our defense last year was solid, but as soon as he kind of began to broke out and you know, he started to get that pressure on the opposite side of Max Crosby. That's when his defense, in my opinion, took a step forward into a really good unit. We're not going to have Malcolm Koonce for the rest of the season, so somebody's going to have to step up, whether that be Tyree Wilson, Janarius Robinson, Charles Snowden. I'm gonna be honest, I'm not super confident in those guys. Tyree Wilson hasn't took a significant leap forward just yet. Other guys are, other guys. Let's be honest, I never really heard of them until this season. So the Raiders may have to look to make some type of moves down the line, via trade, maybe get a pass rusher, but that's going to be a huge dilemma for us moving forward. A salute to Capitan Rafucho. If you haven't done so, subscribe to his channel. But he says it really hurts to see Raiders lose in the home opener. It sucks. I'm not in a good mood. Yeah, I definitely hear you on that, man. Home opener is, you want to, especially against a team like the Panthers, you want to get off to a good start. Ideally, I wanted us to see if we could win this game by like 2 scores or more, kind of establish a good home field advantage. But the Raiders, did the complete opposite. We got destroyed. So yeah. We got Dominique saying, remember, everybody thought it was Justin Fields' fault. Nope, clearly it was Getsy in Chicago because Fields is fine in Pittsburgh with a real head coach and an offensive coordinator. So I'll agree with you that, yeah, Luke Getsy is definitely an issue at the offensive coordinator position. With Justin Fields, I mean, I don't know. I'm still not sold on him, but I will say, I mean, he's doing enough to win, but he's riding on the coattails of that defense. I'm still not sold on I'm still not sold on him as a quarterback, but yeah, Luke Getsy is definitely getting exposed right now. We got Capitan Rafucho saying Luke Gessie playbook was trash. We didn't have time adjustment. Everything sucks. We can't run the ball. This is bullshit. Yeah, I think that's the biggest issue. I keep harping on this. We cannot run the ball at all. It's one thing if you're not great against the run, but we're literally ranked dead last in the National Football League when it comes to running the football. If you can't do that, it's gonna make everything so much harder for us. We're gonna get in third and long situations. Um, it's a really tough situation for this offense. I mean, at the bare minimum, I'm just asking like, can you be ranked like 20th, 22nd in the league in terms of being able to run the football? Just don't be dead last. And fundamentally, that's a huge issue for this team. Um, I think the reason why we can't run the football is a part of it is the offensive line is just not doing a good job at all. They're not opening up the holes. And Zamir White, I mean, I don't know. He was a question mark going into the season, and he's not looking too good right now. His vision is definitely questionable. Um, he doesn't break tackles at all. If I was the offensive coordinator, I would roll with Alexander Madison getting more snaps next season, or even Dylan Labe. I mean, we got to try something different, when it comes to running the football, because this whole approach of just running it up the gut with Zamir White in the wide zone run scheme is not working at all. We have to do something different. So Daniel says, "What a kick in the balls!" Yeah, yeah, but let's be honest, bro. We're all Raiders fans here. I mean, are we super surprised about this? I'm not, because I know a lot of you guys too were a little bit nervous going into this game because the Raiders, for whatever reason, have this sort of tendency to where you go against a backup quarterback, and for whatever reason, they just light it up against us. I don't really know why that happens. In the past, I always just kind of attributed to we just had a bad defense in general. So when you have a bad defense, I'm not gonna be shocked when they go out there and play like ass. But this year we got a good defense, we got good talent, and I don't know. I just don't get it. Dominic says Chip Kelly, Hugh Jackson, or Kubiak as offensive coordinator. Kubiak definitely intrigued me. He comes from that Kyle Shanahan tree, but I definitely that would have been a much better option than Luke Getsy at this point. We'll just have to see what happens moving forward. Daniel says need to get rid of the offensive coordinator. Yeah, we'll just see, man. I mean, the issue is, I mean, hiring Luke Getsy was a mistake we made back in February, and it's hard to fix that now in September. We're already in the season. We have his playbook. We spend the whole offseason trying to learn his playbook, his plays. So yeah, we could fire him, but like who's gonna call the plays then? The playbook is still gonna be the same. It's too late in the season to implement a new playbook, a new scheme. So we're kind of screwed. I mean, I don't know. We're gonna have to find a way to do the best with what we already have. I don't think we're gonna fire Luke Getsy anytime soon. If they do end up doing it, I think it'll be probably closer towards mid-season or so. But well, we'll just see it, man. I think on Monday there's gonna be a lot of news, especially too with the comments that Antonio Pierce made about some of he supposedly said something about players making business decisions, and him as a coaching staff is gonna have to make those as well. So, definitely let me know in the live chat right now. What do you guys think about that? Who do you think he was talking about? Because I'm super intrigued. I've heard people thinking that he's talking about Devontae Adams, Jackson Powers Johnson, maybe Thayer Mumford, who got injured, and I don't think he came back after that. So I'm super intrigued to hear from you guys. Who do you think he was talking about? We got 213 vibes saying just move forward with Aiden O'Connell and see what happens. Yeah, I definitely hear you on that, but I'll be honest, man. Gardner Minshew, Aiden O'Connell, it just depends on what type of preference you have. But at the end of the day, they're both mid-level quarterbacks to me. the biggest issue is we can't run the football. The offensive line in general is not that good either. The play calling isn't that good either. So even if we put Aiden O'Connell out there, I think we're going to see similar results. And there could even be the possibility that this offense gets worse with Aiden O'Connell just because the dude has no mobility. And this offensive line can't pass and protect for shit. And you look at it, I mean, Gardner Minshew, he's a streaky player. At times he's going to play really bad, but at times you're going to see like versus the Ravens. He got hot and he's able to make plays. Like that play versus the Ravens where when he gets out of the pocket, he throws it to Brock Bowers. We get to the 1 yard line. That play doesn't happen with Brock Bowers. So I don't know. Sure, at some point I wouldn't be shocked if we see Aiden O'Connell out there, but it's not going to fix a whole lot if we don't fix the issues up front with pass blocking and with opening up the lanes in the running game. So that's personally what I see with the quarterback situation. We got Raider Biggs in the building saying, "Do we take the crown as the worst team in the league right now?" I mean, for week 3, I mean, yeah, I think we're definitely the laughing stock of the league because everybody thought the Panthers were, that bad of a football team. I mean, you had certain people saying, obviously jokingly, but they said they're as bad as a college football team. So I think everybody kind of thought we were gonna, come in here, handle our business, but we lost. And not only did we lost, we got absolutely dominated. So yeah, for week 3, the Raiders definitely get the take of, one of the worst teams of the week. Raider Big says Raiders is the first defense to give up 300-yard passer, and it's Andy freaking Dalton. Shake man. That's what I'm saying, bro. It's like yeah, we'll play against Justin Herbert. We'll hold him to less than 200 yards. We'll play Lamar Jackson. We hold him to less than 250. But Andy Dalton, a backup, he'll throw for over 200 yards in the first half. It's incredible, man. I don't know why that shit always happens to the Raiders. We got Dominique 5 saying Zamir is not an NFL running back. It's brutal watching him. Yeah, I don't know, man. I'm gonna have to definitely watch the film again this season, this week. I'm not looking forward to it. These type of games is sometimes I just contemplate completely throwing out the tape, but you definitely got to look at the run game, why it's not working. In the past, it's it's definitely a mixture of both. I mean, the offensive line isn't opening up the holes, but Zamir White too. He's you can kind of see when a player has a good feel for how the offensive line, how the blocks develop down the field. You saw Josh Jacobs was definitely one of those players. Zamir White definitely is not that type of player. So, but yeah, like I said, we have to try something different at the running back spot. I would personally give more snaps to Madison. I would give some snaps to Dylan Lobby. We got to try something different. We need some type of spark to ignite this running attack. We got Ron saying he never said player. He said some individuals. Is that true? I heard players. I mean, let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Actually, I'll check it out right now too. I had it on Sports Center. Let me actually pull up this clip real quick. So this is what Antonio. Okay. So here's the quote. I think there was definitely some individuals that made business decisions and will make business decisions going forward as well. Okay.
Going forward as well.
That the team just didn't seem to show up tonight.
No, they didn't. I think as the game went on, I don't think it was a team. I think there was definitely some individuals that made business decisions and will make business decisions going forward as well.
That the team just didn't seem to.
Okay, so I mean, like I said, let me know what you guys think. Who do you think he's talking about? there's been a lot of speculation whether he was talking about Devontae Adams, Jackson Powers Johnson. With him saying individuals, I don't know. Maybe he's talking about Luke Getsy. It's hard to know. I don't think he's talking about Getsy. I don't think he's talking about anybody in the coaching staff because he said making a business decision. When I hear business decision when it comes to the game of football, it's usually a guy not willing to take a hit. It's usually a guy, with the Raiders, with the game essentially being over in the fourth quarter, maybe a certain player said, you know what, nah, I don't want to go back into the football game. This isn't worth my time. I don't know, man. It's a super interesting question to ask, but I will say this is not a good look on this football team. It's so early in the season, and for Antonio Pierce to, let's be honest, this is drama. This is drama. You don't always want drama. You don't want drama associated with a football team. And the thing is, too, Antonio Pierce, one of the biggest things that you liked about Antonio Pierce being the head coach is that he did a good job turning this team around last season. He did a good job getting the players, bought into the system, to the culture. He was a good locker room guy. Let's be honest. He's a player's coach. You could see the players were fighting for him. And I will say, Antonio Pierce, look, it's week 3. I don't want to overreact. I don't want to say that he's, lost the locker room or anything like that. But if Antonio Pierce at some point during the season ends up losing the locker room, if he loses the trust and the respect from his players, I think he's absolutely cooked as a head coach. At that point, Luke Getsy's not going to last. So, at that point, Antonio Pierce, my bad, is not going to last. So, fire Getsy. Yeah, man, I definitely hear you on that. Probably a player that got injured and didn't want to come back in. Yeah, personally, that's what I've been thinking. Like I said, I don't think he's talking about anybody on this coaching staff or anything like that. Like I said, a business decision. It seems something like that. Somebody got hurt. Maybe Antonio Pierce thought he was good enough to go back in. He didn't want to go in. We'll definitely probably hear more details about this, Monday. We'll definitely kind of see next week as well, because he said he's going to make some business decisions as well as a coaching staff. So that kind of, to me, that entails that somebody's going to either be moved, somebody's going to, get moved to the bench. Some type of move should happen in that aspect. So we'll just ultimately see what happens. We play the Browns next. We could be 2-2. Yes, we do play the Cleveland Browns next week. Let me look it up. I don't know what their record is. Theoretically, that is a winnable game, but the Raiders gotta handle their own issues before we can be confident that we're gonna beat any team down the line. The Panthers was playing the Panthers was a quote unquote winnable game. So, but like I said, the Raiders have big issues. We can't run the football. We can't stop the run. The Browns are going to try to, ground and pound against us. So we can't stop the run. We're a team that anybody else can beat as well. So we'll just see. It looks like the Cleveland Browns are 1-2 as well. So it's going to be a close matchup. The Raiders definitely could win, but we'll just see what happens. McCormick needs snaps. He has good vision from all the games I've seen him play, almost similar to how Jacobs ran. Yeah, I don't know, man. Sincere McCormick, for whatever reason, he hasn't made the roster. I'm just gonna have to rely on their judgment. We'll just see, man. At this point, like I said, we gotta shake things up. Even with Zamir White, I wouldn't necessarily just not give him the ball anymore, but why not give it to him on a toss play or something like that? Why not, run more screens to him? It's always right up the gut, It's always on these wide zones. You've kind of seen he's not done a good job in that aspect. So we got to give him more. We got to give him more. I guess we got to give him different type of snaps as a running back to see if he can flourish in that standpoint. But yeah, I mean, at this point, we don't have a starting running back, in my opinion. We're just gonna have to try different players, and whoever has the hot hand, we're gonna have to go with them. Because right now this run game is literally non-existent, and that's a huge issue for this offense. We got Dominique 5 saying, "We will make Deshaun Watson look like his old self." Watch. I mean, we'll the Raiders definitely could. I don't know, man. This defense, the first 2 weeks has been good. Really, the Achilles heel for this defense right now is stopping the run. But the 2 games before, we've been really good against quarterbacks, stopping the pass. But today, for whatever reason, we got absolutely cooked. I don't expect Deshaun Watson to really, carve us up in the air. If we're gonna lose, it's gonna be because we can't stop the run. And when it comes to us stopping the run, I gave this defense the benefit of the doubt. I did. I said, you know what? 2 weeks, we won against the Chargers week 1 with J.K. Dobbins. They got Harbaugh. They got Greg Roman as their offensive coordinator. That's kind of their identity, to run the football. You look at their rankings. I think they're one of the top rushing units per game. I think they're ranked second in the National Football League. So I said, you know what? Maybe it's just because we went against a good rushing attack with the Chargers. Also, the Ravens, they're also a really good rushing attack, ranked 7th overall in the league in rushing. Lamar Jackson's always a tough player to stop as well. I gave them the benefit of the doubt. I said, maybe that's the reason why we can't stop the run. In the preseason, we saw we couldn't stop the run. But unfortunately, I mean, we still can't stop the run. The Panthers, one of the worst ranked offenses in the whole league, and they ran it down our throats all game long. If we look at the stats, I think they ran for like 131 yards. Let me double check that real quick. I know Chuba Hubbard, he ran for like 114 yards, but yeah, we still can't stop the run. And if you can't fix that, I mean, it's going to be nearly impossible for this defense to reach its potential to be like a top 5 unit if we can't stop the run. And yeah, the Panthers ran for 131 yards. So this running experiment is not working. Need to use other running backs in creative ways. Yeah, exactly, man. We got Julian saying, what happens to Zamir? The thing is with Zamir is he's not that great of a back, and this offensive line isn't good at all. So you mix those two, you get a running game that's virtually non-existent. And the way this team is set up with Gardner Minshew, with Aiden O'Connell, we're not going to be a team that's going to be able to, make big strides. We can't make the playoffs. We can't win a playoff game if we're going to rely on Gardner Minshew and Aiden O'Connell to throw the ball 30, 35 plus times a game. So that's a big issue for this team. Did you get a chance to watch Gainer snaps? I saw him going to the football game. If I'm not mistaken, he came into the football game like early fourth quarter. It's hard to really lock in on one player, on the NFL broadcast camera. But, and at that point too, the game was over. So with Divine Diablo being out, I wanted to see him get more meaningful snaps, but I really didn't get a chance to evaluate Amari Gainer closely. If I get a chance, I'll watch the film this week. I'll see if I can, lock in on him a little bit more. But Luke Masterson took the start over Diablo this week. He didn't look that great. Also last week I noticed, he wasn't that good either. So we'll just see, man. I would like to see a little bit more of Amari Gainer. I mean, he could be just as equally as bad as well, but at the very least in the preseason, he was an animal when it came to stopping the run. His energy was off the charts, and it's unfortunate that we didn't get to see him out there that much. Why are we still using Abdullah on special teams instead of McAllister? Yeah, I don't get that. It's like, why do you have Tyreek McAllister on the roster if that's literally, to me, that's the reason why he made this roster, right? I look at the preseason, he had a huge return. It's like, man, give him a shot. Right now, our special teams when it comes to punt returns, kick returns are non-existent. We've been seeing Trey Tucker out there. We've seen Abdullah out there. Give the kid a shot, because at this point, I mean, what's he on the roster for? If he's not getting any snaps as a wide receiver, and if he's not getting any snaps as a punt returner, I don't get that. I'm Not Bueno says Raiders defense missed the flight from Baltimore. Yeah, man. The defense, look, it was terrible on both sides of the football. The offense has been shit for basically 2.5 games. This offense has been shit. The defense has been good the first 2 weeks, but this week this defense was not there. The Panthers came into this game as a 32nd ranked overall offense, and they put up 36 points on you. Andy Dalton puts over 200 yards, 2 touchdowns. Oh, my bad. 3 touchdowns in the first half. That's not going to get it done. This defense left a lot to be desired in this game. We got J.O. saying we've been total garbage since idiot Mark Davis took over in 2011, and there's no end in sight. And to be fair, we were also garbage before Mark Davis. I mean, those years before him were also pretty bad as well. Let's be honest; it's been quite a while since the Raiders were a legit, playoff contender. The last time, back when Gruden, his first stint, like around 2000 and I think it was 99 to 02. That was like the last time. So I don't know, man. Says nothing changes until Mark Davis stops making football decisions. Well, here's the thing. You say football decisions. How much decisions is Mark Davis making in that sense? Because me personally, I think Mark Davis understands that he doesn't really know the game of football, especially like his dad knew it. He's kind of relying on people he's hiring people that are supposed to know football, and he's kind of letting them run the operation. But for whatever reason, they haven't been able to get the job done. I really don't think Mark Davis is making these type of decisions. I don't think he really has much input to who we're selecting in the first round, what free agents we're signing. I don't think he's really, that involved in this football team. But to me, I think Mark Davis is more like his biggest contribution to this team is he's figuring out how it can be as profitable as possible. And he's done a good job about that. But, with Mark Davis, we're going to have to determine if Mark Davis, what does he value the most? Does he value winning? Does he value bringing this franchise back to its glory days, back to the greatness that his father left, that type of legacy? Or is he just here for a money grab, right? Is he just here to have the Raiders be one of the most profitable franchises in the National Football League? And you definitely see, I mean, Allegiant Stadium is literally one of the most expensive games to go to in the National Football League, and they're by far one of the best teams in the league. So, something to keep into consideration. Why is Wilson still on the edge? Yeah, I don't understand that, man. I mean, I think he's done a lot better in the interior. Now, mind you, it has been a limited sample size, but we saw last year in the game versus Miami, he got some snaps. In the game versus Minnesota as well, he got a lot of snaps in the interior. He's much better in the interior thus far. On the edge, I mean, he doesn't have any type of pass rusher move. He relies solely on the bull rush. He has a his get off of the line of scrimmage is pretty slow, so it's not looking promising for him as an edge rusher. We got Rando in the building saying, "Everybody, cool your jets. This is a shameful loss, but it's not the end." You know, I definitely agree with you. The thing is with this team is, yeah, we have this is a terrible loss, but we still have a lot of talent. And the one thing I've noticed with the Raiders is this team always plays to the level of their opponent, and that's not a good thing. Sure, I mean sometimes they'll go against a really good team like the Ravens last year against the Chiefs, and even this year. Like when we play the Chiefs, would I be shocked if we upsetted them? You know, one of the two times, I wouldn't be shocked because for whatever the reason, this team kind of relies on, external motivation from, and if from national media, doubting them. Um, for whatever reason, when the Raiders aren't supposed to win a game, that's when they usually play their best. I don't know. It seems like maybe when the pressure is kind of off them, that's when they tend to play better. But when they play games like this, where they're the favorite, where they're the one that should be the winner, that's when they typically that's typically where they don't play as good as they should. Salute to the Raider Rundown. He says, "Shout out, bro. Love your content and would love to work in the future." Hey, salute to you, man. I think this is the first time I've seen you in the chat or whatever. So, hey, man, if I don't know if you're a content creator or what, but if you haven't done so, you can shoot me a message on Instagram, and we can definitely do something down the line. I'm not opposed to that. Thanks for pulling up. I appreciate that, man. Raiders have no president of football operations. Mark is picking the head coach himself. He has no staff. No other owner does this. Well, technically, we do have a president of football operations, isn't it, Sandra Douglas? But I don't know what her background is in terms of like making decisions and personnel, or just like running a football team in general. So sorry for the negativity, but Mark is a horrible owner. Raider Nation deserves best. Hey man, do what you gotta do, man. This is a loss, man. I know most of you guys are super pissed, just like I am. It is what it is, man. And I definitely agree with your statement. The Raider Nation does deserve better. And look, at some point, we definitely have to look in the mirror. And it's like, if the Raiders can't turn it around here in the near future, we definitely got to consider like, how much money we're gonna invest in this team. Because, like I said, going to Allegiant Stadium, man, especially for a guy like me, I live out here in Oregon. So it's like I have to travel to Las Vegas. I'll have to take a plane. The tickets are super expensive, one of the most expensive in the whole league. Last year when I went, I stayed at a hotel for a night. So that stuff definitely adds up. I mean, you're easily talking about $1,000, $2,000 just to watch a football game. And like if I would have gone this week, I've been super pissed off, man, because that's not worth it, man. Spending all your hard-earned money just to see the team collapse like they did. Like you said, we definitely deserve better. And at some point, if we can't turn things around, like we got to spend our money, more wisely. Raider Rundown says AP and the staff has got to look in the mirror after today, for sure, for sure. He just tries to learn what he can. The coaches he hires don't know what they are doing. I know they're out options, but what possessed them to hire the Bears offensive coordinator? Well, exactly that, bro. They were out of options. They wanted Cliff Kingsbury. You know, after that, I think around that time, I mean, a lot of other offensive coordinators were already getting signed and stuff. So you kind of get in a position, you kind of get put in a situation where it's like, man, what's left? And Luke Getsy was left. That's what they ran with. But to me, that was never a good look. That was, he was not your first choice, and you can see why he wasn't. Man, he's not that good. We got Jo saying Chiefs getting away with more defensive penalties. Horrible. I'm definitely not surprised about that. Yo, how's the game going? Last I checked, I think the Falcons were up. I'm about to check real quick how that game's going, but oh shit, man. Fourth quarter, 22-17, Falcons have the ball. Jo says, thanks, Alex. Hope we win next week. Hey, salute to you, man. I hope we do. The thing is, this team, we have a lot of talent. We're going to win. I think this team's I had us at 9-8. That was being a little bit optimistic, but I can definitely see. I think the absolute basement for this team is 6-11, 7-10, somewhere in there. And the absolute ceiling for this team is a 10-7 football team. You probably sneak into the wild card, but anywhere from 6 to 9 wins is where I see this football team. And that's we're kind of an inconsistent football team. 1 week I think will look really good, and then the next week will look really bad. That's kind of how I project this season moving forward. But we'll see, man. If we can, I will say, if we can somehow fix our issues running the football and stopping the run, this team definitely has a chance to compete. But how are they going to do that? I don't know. It's super tough. Jo says, Sandra is the president of business operations. We have no president of football operations, just Mark. Okay. Hey, you may be right about that, man. I don't know. So, I don't know, man. We should have just paid Kingsbury. I wanted Kingsbury. That was my first choice. Is he perfect? No, but he's a much more modern style offensive coordinator. And I think if we would have drafted him, I think we would have prioritized a little bit harder getting a quarterback in the draft. Now, I will say, we did get Brock Bowers. He's a generational type of talent, but that type of draft pick, in my opinion, is more a down the road type of pick, which I'm not super mad about. That's the draft. That's the whole point of the draft. You're trying to build for the future, but if we're trying to win as soon as possible, we need to address the quarterback spot, and we still haven't done that. So. Now we're stuck with Getsy. Yep, for sure. We got Peter in the building, says we need a tank, draft a good quarterback, get a more competent head coach. That's the thing, man. We're not bad enough of a football team to get a high draft pick, like a top 5 draft pick. Like I said, I think we're a set 6-7 to a 9-win football team. And, typically that'll get you somewhere around the 12th overall pick to around the 16th. That's kind of where I see this team moving forward. The Raiders never tank, which I don't know. I don't know. I understand, these are professionals, but at some point the Raiders need to make a decision on, I'm totally okay with sacrificing 1 year if there's a guy that you feel can definitely change this franchise. Now, ultimately, we'll have to see if they think of any quarterback in this year's draft of that potential franchise quarterback, whether that be Shador Sanders, whether that be Cam Ward. But at some point, I wouldn't mind us tanking for a season. Jo says, "Go Falcons!" Yes, sir, man. Yeah, we lost, but if Kansas City can lose too, that'd be awesome. Look at that freak says wild card. Laugh out loud. We just trying to win a game. Yeah, man. I hear you on that. But like I said, that's the ceiling I see for this team. But yeah, that reminds me of that one meme of that one guy, that the one coach saying playoffs. We just trying to win a game out here. but yeah. Mark says fire Lugetzi ASAP 100%. We'll see what happens this week. Even if we fire him though, I don't think that's gonna change that much though. That's the issue. Maybe Labe can find success. That's what I'm saying, man. At this point, try different things, man. Try Madison. Give Labe some snaps. Try different style runs, man. Try some toss plays. Try more. Try maybe some read options with Gardner Minshew. Try some RPO type of things, right? I will say we've been trying a lot of screen plays, which sometimes he does it a little bit too often, but I can also understand why he's doing it. When your offensive line can't protect, sometimes that's a good way to slow down the pass rush. And when you can't run the ball effectively, sometimes that's a good way. That's like another avenue for the run game, if you can get some quick screens going. But yeah, it's been bad for us. Fire Patrick Graham ASAP 100%. Nah, bro. Yeah. I'm gonna have to disagree with you on that. Yes, the defense was absolutely terrible this game, but I still think Lugetzi's a really good. I mean, my bad. I still think Patrick Graham is a really good defensive coordinator. He's gotten this defense from being one of the worst defenses in the league to being a pretty good defense. I think our biggest issues is with offense. Peter says, gift pass interference last week. We should be 0-3. I mean, I don't know, man. I thought it was a pass interference. The Raiders did what they had to do. They got the victory. I mean, technically, I thought we should have won the first week, but that's not how the NFL works. So, only one team can never, ever talk. Al said it, just win. There is nothing else for our nation. Yeah, that's the one thing we haven't done. We haven't been able to win. But Raider Nation, I think I'm going to be coming to close on this live stream. I really appreciate all you guys pulling up. If you haven't done so, I've seen some new faces in here. If you haven't done so, make sure to subscribe to the channel. With that being said, though, I'm going to head out here. We'll see if we can do a little bit more of these live streams moving forward. But yeah, guys, definitely a tough loss. But with that being said, guys, I'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks for pulling up.